most requested symbol that I have right now is gold. Gold futures GC on the daily time frame is in a very established uptrend. So let's start with structure. When we take a look at the structure, we can see here right around November 28, we started to go green on the multi-trend, which tells me that we have an uptrend. That green is important because what it does is it eliminates shorts, no shorting with that green uptrend. Let's just focus on that part of this, green uptrend. That's what we've seen since the trend went green. Now, for me, let's get some techno babble out of the way. We're looking for oftentimes a retracement or a reversion. What's a retracement? It could be a 50%. It could be a 618% retracement of the last major move. So most of the time we think about those numbers that when we look at a high to low range, how much are we likely to see the market come back? And that's where 50% is really, really popular. 50%, as we like to say in the Sector Secrets Mastery and in the futures room, the Pingala number. Before Fibonacci, it was Pingala. We love those 50% Pingalas. How about a reversion to the mean? Now, gang, there is no one mean. Mean simply means average. But what's the average we're looking at? For me, it's the 34 period exponential moving average. So it's an EMA. And I'm looking at the high, the low, and the close, right? So that's another way we can look at that. Reversions to the mean. Gang, that right there is probably the bread and butter of 30 plus careers of my trend trading. Find a trend, wait for the reversion to the 34 EMA wave. But sometimes, like gold, that reversion never comes. So then the question is, well, what is the correction? If it's not a 50%, if we're not seeing those Pingalas, if we're not getting the wave, what then can we do? And part of my process, as a lot of you know, has been looking at price movement ranges. Right? Historical volatilities. Anytime you hear me say something like PMR or price movement range, I'm talking about historical volatility. And I'm not talking a handful of sessions. I'm talking about 6 months of typical price movement range. So that's what the PMR, price movement range, is. All right. Well, many of you have seen me do that on an hourly. Right? Get an hourly chart, use the hourly PMR, and play the ranges. But what about longer term? What about daily price movement ranges? What about session by session historical volatility breakdowns? That's exactly what is working like gangbusters on gold. And that's what we're going to use as an entry. We can do this on a daily time frame. A lot of folks have been asking, Rog, what about a 4-hour time frame or a 1-hour time frame? Once we know that we have directional bias, and I love to have that directional bias, which in this case is up. Once I have that directional bias, I know it's long or nothing. So we can focus on these green zones for entry and only, right? Only those green zones for entry. We've had plenty of those opportunities both on a 4 or a daily. They're the same zones, just you could look at it through the 4-hour candle or the daily candle. That's how I'm going to focus on gold. And we had yet another opportunity here during the CPI to get another move into that zone. So if you're wondering, all right, Rog, how do we get in on an uptrend in gold when we're not getting a reversion to the mean? We use the daily price movement ranges, and you can see that is definitely guiding gold to the upside. The second most popular symbol I get asked about, silver, right? Is it doing something similar? It is. It actually is. Now, silver is not punching up to higher highs in quite the same way gold is. So I'm not as fond of silver, but you can see right here, every one of these tests have been pretty reasonably reacted to. But you'll notice silver stuck in a range. And so silver is really not on my radar in the same way that gold is. Well, let's round out the metals. What about copper? If we're going to really see strength in equities, wouldn't it be nice if copper starts moving up? Yeah, we're going to start talking more and more about copper, but it's not ready yet for prime time. The other thing that we want to think about in terms of trends, and if we're going to talk about gold, I think a lot of people think dollar, right? Do you think about dollar when you think about gold? The best way to play dollar, the most accessible way, is going to be through the euro. Focus on the same thing. We can wait for reversions to the mean. right? But we can also look at the DPMR. So a lot of you might be saying, hey, Rock, is this a really good complement to the TOPS system, right? Is this really something I can do with the TOPS system? Meaning, if I don't get a reversion to the wave, can I play the reversion to or bounce off the DPMR? What if they act together? Well, then you know you have something unbelievably special, right? So that's what the 6E looks like with the wave and the DPMRs. And here's what gold looks like. And you'll see that when the wave isn't in play, and it's been in play a number of times, you can see in here, entry, entry, but take a look as it continues to go a little bit more parabolic. There's your DPMR doing the job. So we have now two ways of playing the trend. I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghi from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.